We were busy trying to defend the election this year and had what did they call it? The most secure election in history, which baffles me. But anyways, our businesses and government got broken into. That's what we're going to talk about right now. Let's get into our big problem here this week. This has been continuing for what now? About 2 or 3 weeks we've known about it. This is a hack of a company called SolarWinds. This hack apparently allowed intruders into our networks for maybe a year and a half, but certainly since March of 2019. This is a huge deal. We're going to explain a little bit about that here. Who got hacked? What does it mean to you? And I'm going to get into just a little bit of something simple that could have been done that I've been advising you guys to do for a long time. It's just like earlier I mentioned, hey, change your passwords, use different passwords. And in fact, that's a big problem still. But we'll talk about this right now. SolarWinds is a company that makes tools to manage networks of computers and the network devices themselves. And my company, Mainstream, was a client of SolarWinds. So I want to put that on the table. However, about a year and a half to 2 years ago, it's probably about 2 years, we dropped SolarWinds as a vendor. And the reason we dropped them, and we made it very clear to them, was we had found security vulnerabilities in their architecture, the way they were doing things. We reported these security vulnerabilities to SolarWinds a couple of years ago, and they wouldn't do anything about it. So we said goodbye, and we dropped them as a vendor. Yeah, we were a customer SolarWinds, we were using their stuff, but then we abandoned them when they wouldn't follow what we considered to be basic security guidelines. It turns out they weren't. And we got as a country. This has been called the Pearl Harbor of American information technology, because the data within these hacked networks, which included things like user IDs, passwords, financial records, source code, can presumed now to be in the hands of Russian intelligence agents. This is from the United States of America's main security guy, General Paul Nakasone. It's just incredible what he's admitting here. He said SolarWinds, the company that the hackers used as a conduit for their attacks, had a history of lackluster security for its products. What did I tell you? Making it an easy target. Interviews with current and former employees suggest it was slow to make security a priority, even as its software was adopted by federal agencies. Experts noted that it took days after the Russian attack was discovered before SolarWinds' website stopped offering clients the compromised programs. Microsoft, by the way, said that it had not been breached initially here, but now this week it discovered it had been breached, and resellers of Microsoft software had been breached too. We've got intelligence officials now very upset about Microsoft not detecting it. It's just absolutely incredible here. This wasn't something like we had with Pearl Harbor, but this attack may prove to be even more damaging to our national security and our business prosperity. This is really fascinating. I love the fact, I'm not going to say I told you because I didn't tell you guys this, but I do love the fact that I was right again. Unfortunately, I'm right too often when it comes to security. And it is very frustrating to me to work with some clients that just don't seem to care about security. And I want to jump to an opinion piece here from our friends over at CNN. This is an opinion piece by Bruce Schneier. You've probably seen him before. He is also, I think he writes for the Washington Post. But remember when this came out, the word about the SolarWinds hack, President Joe Biden said, "We are going to retaliate," which I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense in this particular case for a number of reasons, not the least of which we're not 100% sure it's the Russians. But how are we going to retaliate? Cyber espionage is, frankly, business as usual for every country, not just the North Korea, Iran, Russia, China, and Vietnam. It's business as usual by us as well. The United States is very aggressive, offensively. In other words, going out after other countries in the cybersecurity realm. And we benefit from the lack of norms that are in cybersecurity. But here's what I really like that Bruce said, and I agree with entirely. I'm glad he must listen to the show. The fundamental problem is one of economic incentives. The market rewards quick development of products. It rewards new features. It rewards spying on customers and users, collecting and selling individual data. Think of Facebook when we're saying this, or Instagram, or any of these services that we're using all the time. So back to the quote here. The market does not reward security, safety, or transparency. It doesn't reward reliability past a bare minimum, and it does not reward resilience at all. This is what happened at SolarWinds. SolarWinds ended up contracting software development to Eastern Europe, where Russia has a lot more influence, and Russia could easily subvert programmers over there. It's cheaper for Russia, not just for SolarWinds. Short-term profit. That's what they were after here. It was totally prioritized over product security, and yet their product is used to help secure. It just drives me crazy out there. Just absolutely crazy what some people are doing. I wrote a little quote down. I'm looking here to see if I've got it handy on my desk, and I just don't see it. But they are prioritizing everything except security. And that is, I think, frankly, completely inexcusable, right? Inexcusable. So this is happening with SolarWinds right now, but it's going to be happening with other places out there. We have probably 250 federal government agencies that were nailed by this. Can you imagine that? The man who owns SolarWinds is a Puerto Rican-born billionaire named Orlando Bravo. His business model is to buy niche software companies, combine them with competitors, offshore work, cut any cost he can, and raise prices. This is the same sloppy and corrupt practices that allowed this massive cybersecurity hack made Bravo a billionaire. Another quote here. This is from Tech Beacon. Yeah, this is just crazy. Okay, so we know, okay, I've established it. Craig, stop the monotonous. Okay, but I got to mention, we've got the U.S. Treasury Department was hacked. The U.S. Department of Commerce's National Telecommunication and Infrastructure Administration, Department of Health's National Institutes of Health, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, the Department of Homeland Security, the U.S. Department of State, the Department of Justice, the National Nuclear Security Administration, the U.S. Department of Energy, 3 U.S. state governments, the City of Austin, many hundreds more, including Microsoft, Cisco, Intel, VMware, and others. I use 2 of those. We use Cisco and VMware. We use Intel, but only peripherally, and we actually prefer other processors. So this is a real problem. How are we going to change it? I don't know that we can, you and I, but I can tell you what you can do. Just like I keep reminding everybody, use a password manager, and I will have a course on that this year. Absolutely guaranteed, using a password manager. Use a password manager and generate different passwords for every website using the password manager. Use the manager to log in. Okay, so that's step number 1. That's the best thing you can do right now for your cybersecurity, next to keeping all of your software up to date. The second thing that we can do is block this malware from getting out of your network. If you are a business and if you consider yourself an IT security person, you need to block all outbound connections, all of them. Only allow connections where they are absolutely mandatory. For instance, your accounting department may need access to some form of cloud services out there, heaven forbid, okay? Maybe you're using an Oracle product, etc. Only those people that need access to that cloud service should have access to the cloud service. Does that make sense? Email, you should bring it in through a single server. So you only have one point for email coming in and going out. SMTP, IMAP, they should be controlled and controlled pretty tightly. According to the Department of Justice, apparently their email accounts were compromised. About 4,000-ish people's accounts were compromised through this hack. So from a professional standpoint, there's a lot of things you could do, but it costs money, it takes time. How about the rest of us? What can we do to protect ourselves? Use OpenDNS or Cisco's Umbrella service. Umbrella, we sell the professional version that's used by businesses. That's what you need because it allows you to tune it to the people and what they need access to. Umbrella and OpenDNS will stop most malware from getting out. Most of it, not everything. That is huge defense. Hey, if you want more information, if you want to go to my initial here, Microsoft security course that's coming up in a couple of weeks, just email me at craigpeterson.com and let me know. Be glad to send you stuff. Me at craigpeterson.com. Take care, guys.